I have so many slides to share with you. And this is what I'm going to talk about. Will we make it? And our ideas of how to make it. And usually I end up my presentations by saying thank you for listening, but I will start with saying thank you to you for acting, because it is acting now that is the solution for reaching the target. And it's by leading by examples that we can have an impact to the global climate issues. Because, you know, Sweden is a small country. The climate emissions that we have an impact on are only 0.15% of the total climate emissions. So that means if we want to be relevant, we need to be front runners, because that is where the new green business will come if we take the lead and take the being so inspiring that other countries will follow us. So continue being this curious front runner, doing more than searching for solutions in a long-term way. So the climate law we have in Sweden that was launched in 2017 was the most ambitious in the world, going to net zero in 2045. And in that law, we have only one sectorial target, and that is for the transport sector, to reduce the CO2 emissions with 70% from 2010 to 2030. And this is where we really need the leadership from you to encourage reaching this target. The law had 7 of 8 parties standing behind it when it was launched in 2017. This is hard. And the good thing is that we have the same 7 of 8 standing behind it still. And we also have a coalition of the willing, because we have a lot of companies, organizations, that this is some of the partners we have for financing our work. And all these companies have agreed to start acting to reach the target now by collaboration, not being fighting against each other of the market share, but sharing knowledge, standing behind each other when we try to create opinion for new solutions. So we like to see us as a coalition of the willing, we who want to take action now, because that is the most important things to do. So the 2030 secretariat was created with only one goal, and that's to have this party, the New Year's party in 2030, when mission accomplished with all our partners. This is a picture from the Swedish Climate Policy Council, Klimatpolitiska rådet. So, because I want to say, we have to face it, a goal or a target without a great policy is not worth anything. It's just a target. And when they held their annual evaluation about how well the policies and all the actions are aligned with the target, their evaluation was very hard. We are not doing enough. We're even doing less and less right now. And we are even dismantled policies that were put in place and that would give us a chance to reach the target. without replacing that with new measurements or policies. And I say yet, because we will have this klimatpolitiska handlingsplan launched sometimes after this summer, but we have lost 1 year. So we constantly follows the progress of reaching this target by about 40 indicators. And this is, of course, the highest level of the indicators. So reaching the target, we need to follow the green light. And as you can see, we are not. We're even, you know, lutningen isn't showing the right tendency right now. So to meet the target, we need to perform better. We need to reach higher, and we need to do it now. And that's hard to see losing this year by not having this plan, only having the target from the politicians. And to do this, we need to focus on 3 areas, and we call it the 3 B's: bilen, bränslet, beteendet. And bilen, that means all vehicles. All vehicles on asphalt, on rail, on sea or in the air. It's the total transport sector. And we need to have all these vehicles more smarter, more efficient, more shared. And the bränslet, the fuel, is all non-fossil solution, including electricity and hydrogen. And the last one is the behavior, beteendet. That means all behavioral changes that can support the transition to a more transport efficient society, for goods as well as for people. So how do we need to do this? By starting to have a plan. A goal without a plan is useless. We haven't had a plan for this target during all these years. And it's even so that the Swedish Transport Administration, Trafikverket, they don't base their actions on a proposal, on a backcasting plan, which should be the way we should do it. Instead, they are base all their proposals on a forecasting using the future projections. And that shows us that all the transports will increase in the same way that it has done. And our way to see it is gör inte om, gör rätt. You don't have to put away all the good things that worked. You have to more like see what works and increase the effects of that and take away the other ones. So we have a detailed proposal, and on the behavioral change, since the current government has put away, and I will show that later on, most of those things that could increase the impact from the bilen and the bränslet, the vehicle and the fuel. Then we focus a lot right now on the behavioral. So we have 55 proposals that we have handed over to the new government. And most of them are already investigated. And many of them has always been tried in other common countries that are common to the Sweden country. So they are, it's just doing it, it's very cost efficient too. So in our way of seeing it, we don't need to invent anymore. We need to start doing things. And this is why we think that it's that we insist on going big instead of having all this time for small-scale projects. I think that the time for small-scale projects is over. It's time to go big if we really do want to meet the 2030 target. And this is the key component that has been the way we have met the target before. It's to reduce the climate effects in all current vehicles by blending in non-fossil renewable fuels. It's the reduction quota, reduktionsplikten. It's efficient. It's using existing vehicles, existing fuel infrastructure, and so on, and we reaches all vehicles. But as you know, probably heard, this week the current government lowered the blending. And that, of course, makes an impact of how well we can reach the target. And this is the new government's only solution right now for reaching the target. And we agree, electrification of the vehicles is great, but a normal car is used or have a lifetime of 18 years. We have 5 million vehicles. About 400,000 of them are electric. And we can't accelerate the electrification so that we can reach the 20 target by only that solution. That is a good solution, but it's definitely not the answer for reaching the target. The other thing the current government has done is taking away the bonus malus, the bonus for new electric vehicles. And they have also decreased the supporting of introducing new buses and trucks with 50%. We think that it would be more efficient to have a bonus malus system that focus on those sectors that haven't got the breakthrough yet, like the heavy duty, like the small trucks, vans and pickups, and direct the fundings that are shared with 50% right now, direct those fundings to the white areas on the maps where we don't have a charging infrastructure, to focus on the apartment charging problem, and to focus on the charging infrastructure for heavy duties. That is where we have not enough acceleration right now. The other thing that just has been done is that there was no tax on biogas until recently when the new government took it away. But, sorry, I saw another picture here, and that's one. I talk about this picture instead. The current government and its supporting party got elected on promises to reduce the tax, the prices at the fuel prices. They did, with marginal effect for the consumers, but an enormous cost for the state. It's about 7 billion Swedish crowns without effect on the CO2 emissions. It would be smarter to direct those money or subsidies to those who have the hardest, or get the household, the companies, and the sectors who needs it the most, instead of doing what they did. Now it's the picture I started talking about. The biogas has had no tax until recently. The EU let all their member states decide which fuels not to have this tax. So we didn't have to follow that. And you have heard about those who have invested in this technology, that their costs just, you know, the trust of invest in new technology, it really, that's not good for the trust process. So our suggestion is to bring back what worked just for some weeks ago. The other one is encourage sharing. No, which? Okay, this is the one. The current government has halted the investments in the high-speed railway. We think the best thing by doing that is to use that money in increasing the capacity of the current railway for the goods that are traveling with trucks right now, and many of the commuters that are traveling by car, because we don't have the think the availability of the train right now is as good as it should be. We also think that sharing is caring and should be more encouraged than it is right now. The VAT on pooling cars, shared vehicles like micromobility, cars, goods are 75%. It's 4 times as high as for the taxi, the buses, and even rent a limo or a helicopter. It must be more easy to do the right thing. The most sustainable way should always be the one who's economically healthy too. We have already taxes on aviation in Sweden, but those money goes to the state budget. Instead, we should implement a smart bonus-malus system that have higher tax on old aviation, the fossil-driven ones, and a bonus for those new electric plants and the biojets. So this is what we mean by gör inte om, gör rätt. Squeeze what works and let go of the things that don't work. We also need to have the benefit of the autonomous driving. So, for that, we need a vision, and we need a legislation that makes it possible. One of the most efficient ways of reducing the transport need and the CO2 emission in the transport sector is by not traveling. We need a legislation that for the work remote, alltså distansarbete. The Netherlands has, the United Kingdom has it, Spain has it, Portugal has it, and that's more like it's not about the right to work home, but the right to ask and have an answer that could be challenged more than it is today, because every non-done travel is a good thing for the climate. The last one is what's decided in the EU will become law in Sweden. And there are lots of processes there right now that we could benefit in if we higher our voice there. Vi har utsläppshandel, vi har red free. There are lots of processes, and we should be much more active in the EU. So, this is my call from the first picture that I said, thank you for acting. And as you have heard, the current way we're doing it right now isn't good enough. We need to do more. We need to have front runners like you. We need to have new solutions, new proposals for reaching the goal. We have to have new collaborations, because there will always be new challenges during these 7 years. So we need to do more together, faster. And you are one very, very important part of this. So I say thank you again for acting, but let us start acting even faster, better, and higher. We count on you because you are important. You can count on us, and together we will manage this. I'm still a believer. Thank you.